This is a podcast about our lived experience, which unfortunately includes infant death and subsequent mental health struggles. Please take good care of yourself and only listen if this content feels safe for you right now. We'll still be here when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Judith.
And I'm Alina. We are internet friends turned real-life friends who both experienced the tragic loss of our sons to sudden infant death syndrome in winter of 2021.
In the year after Aiden died, my husband and I both became unemployed. My parents divorced, and we had to move 5 times for various reasons.
And as for me, just a few weeks before my son Quinn died, my then husband had come out to me as a transgender woman and were subsequently divorcing.
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot.
But as long as we're living, we will love our sons deeply and work to make sure that we live a life that makes them proud.
Welcome to As Long As I'm Living podcast.
We're so glad you're here.
Hello. We are on a break. This is not Ross or Rachel from Friends. We're on a break. But Judith and I are on a break from the podcast. It's much needed, and we're looking forward to taking some time to focus on other things. But I also want to just let you know we are still recording while we're on this break, and we're looking forward to sharing all the stuff that's going on with us while we're out. So speaking of Friends, we're going to release an episode every Monday for the next couple of weeks while we're on our little break that is kind of a recap. So there's these episodes of Friends that, if I'm being honest, I hate and I skip them, where they like recap, Monica and Chandler's relationship in the episode leading up to their wedding, or there's a Ross and Rachel recap episode, and I hate them, but I want to put something in the feed for you guys. So I'm going to do a recap episode. And I think we're going to do one of these each week until we're back. So just highlighting some episodes of ours that you may not have listened to if you were a late joiner, or if you have listened to them, maybe it's time to go back and listen again when your grief's in a new space. So this week, I'm going to talk about all of our episodes that are kind of like Grief 101. Grief 101. What does that mean? That means like, what is a trigger? If that's something that you're curious about, you should listen to the episode Little Triggers Everywhere. It came out December of 2021. The Grief Button. That episode came out January of 2022. We talk about different metaphors or visualizations for grief, how it might feel inside of you, ways to articulate the way you're feeling to people around you. Signs. So Signs came out June 2022, and that is an episode where we talk about getting signs from our babies, whether we get signs from our babies, which things we look out for to try to see them. Love that episode. Perfectly Normal. That's another episode that came out in the summer of last year. Perfectly Normal as a reference to the hashtag Perfectly Normal in Grief from the wonderful Megan Devine at Refuge in Grief. And basically it talks about everything that is completely normal in grief. So physical side effects, mental side effects, etc. So it's a really good one to listen to if you're like, why the heck can I not find my car in the parking lot? You are not alone. All of us have been there. And the last one I'll highlight is called Why Me? I know it's a thought we've all had. We talk through that thought, when we have it, when we don't have it, how we work through it. Why the fuck did this thing happen to me? It's so fucking unfair. And yeah, it is. That came out in January of this year. So I will link all of those in the description. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a totally different podcast for you to listen to this week. If you have already heard all those episodes, but you still want to listen to a podcast, today I'm going to recommend Terrible Thanks for Asking. Terrible Thanks for Asking is hosted by author Nora McInerny, and I will read you kind of the little premise right now. It's a question we ask and get asked all the time. How are you? And normally we just respond with fine, even if we're totally dying inside, so everyone can go about their day. But it's not always all that fine, is it? Terrible Thanks for Asking is a show by author Nora McInerny that lets real people get real honest about how they're really doing. It's sometimes sad, sometimes funny, and almost always both. The episode I'm going to link in the description is called Sad Nora and the Secret Baby, where she talks about a new baby and grief at the same time. So I think you'll all relate. Nora is like I mentioned, she's an author. She has this podcast. Her first husband died of cancer. And then, a couple weeks later, she had a miscarriage. And she's just somebody who's really fucking funny and really a guiding light for those who are grieving. I don't know if y'all remember, but I actually went to see her live show back in October, and I won the biggest bummer award in the audience, which that was a big win for me. Big win. Very proud. Very proud. My life's that bad. Okay, I'm going to end it there. So listen to those episodes of As Long as I'm Living podcast. Listen to that episode of Terrible Thanks for Asking podcast, and we will be back soon. Bye.
To all of our wonderful new friends, we want to hear from you. Email us at aslongasimlivingpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at aslongasimlivingpodcast. We'll get back to you as soon as our grieving brains allow. Yay!